Welcome back to Predicting the NFL with Mickey G. It is now week 2 of the NFL regular season, and I'd like to start out with some sad news. Yes, it is true. I picked horribly last week. I went 8-8. That might be the worst week I have ever had. That's how bad I was. There was just so many games that just didn't go the way they expected that I just don't know it. It was just dumb. It was really dumb. It was very, very, really, really dumb. That's all I have to say about it. So after that, getting a little anger out there. Let's get into the recap here. Week 1 recap. All right, so we had some exciting stuff going on. We had, first of all, I said I was 8-8, right? And for all the special games, for the crap fest, which was the Bengals and the Colts, it was looking good. It was looking my way. The Colts, they started out well. And then they blew the lead to the Bengals of all teams. Usually the Bengals are a team that can blow leads pretty well, But apparently this year they're the ones who are making the leads blown. The next game, special game, was the game of the week, and that was the Texans and Patriots. Got that game right, so 1-0, but it was not really a game of the week. It was horrible. Patriots absolutely destroyed the Texans. They didn't play well at all. It was just not a very good game there. And then the upset, I was very wrong on. So now I'm 0-1. And I was expecting the Cowboys, play well. Decently well, maybe, And they were just horrible. They were horrible. Absolutely horrendous, okay? They couldn't run the ball. They definitely couldn't pass the ball because they have Dak Prescott. They no longer have Jason Witten. So there's just, a guy gone there, too. It's also the tie between the Steelers and the Browns, which was just dumb. The ties. I think it should definitely be 2 overtimes. 1 overtime, I just don't feel like it's enough time. Both kickers missed field goals. The one was blocked, but Boswell doesn't miss field goals, and he just outright missed it. But the Jaguars won, so that was good. But Leonard Fournette's a little on the iffy side, so that's not good. I don't like that. But they got the win. Kirk Cousins got the dub. That's another very important thing, First game is a Viking. He's getting the dub. But this week, a little more of a challenge. He's playing the Packers. Packers, speaking of them, they almost lost to the Bears, right? Which I would have liked to happen, but it would have hurt me even more, and I would have been 7-9, which is just garbage. So I'm glad they won, but I'm also mad they won. So Rodgers got hurt early, and then he came back, and it was very dumb. The Bears won 20-0, and they lost 24-23. The Jets came out of nowhere and surprised us there. Sam Darnold, though, on his first play in the NFL, did throw a pick 6, but then came back to lead them to a win. And then there was also Fitzmagic. Ryan Fitzpatrick had the best day of any quarterback, I'm pretty sure, and destroyed the Saints defense, who I thought was finally getting better. But I don't know. I don't know if it's the Saints defense or if it's just Fitzpatrick just being an absolute beast of a man. Either way, it was just mind-blowing there. Eagles-Falcons, I was really boring the first half, which was, of course, what I watched. And then I went to bed because I was tired and at school. And they played really well, and it was an exciting game. They had a Philly special part 2, so that was interesting. Case Keenum also got his first dub as a Bronco in a close game against the Seahawks. The Bills are absolute garbage. Titans and Dolphins were literally delayed for 4 hours or something insane. Chargers looked horrible in the beginning of the game. They tried to make a little bit of a comeback, but it just wasn't enough. Chiefs got the win there. I did not like that. The Redskins absolutely demolished the Cardinals, and it was just mind-blowing there. I didn't think they were going to be good. Chris Thompson had a great day, which I liked a lot. But the Cardinals were just bad. Sam Bradford did not play well, and I was one of the people calling for Josh Rosen to step on the field. But we might have to wait a little longer for that. The Rams-Raiders, the other Monday night game, not much surprise here. The Rams just rolled right over the Raiders. But Marshawn Lynch did have a nice touchdown where he basically pulled what MJD did a while back against the Chiefs, which was just get the handoff and then carry 7 people into the touchdown. So that was pretty cool. that's all for the recap. So let's get into the picks. First game we have the Thursday night game. We have the Ravens at the Bengals. We have Ravens, who played a really bad Bills team and scored a lot of points and looked pretty good, you know. Then you have a Bengals team that showed up the Colts and kind of, messed them up there. And this is a hard decision because on one hand, the Ravens looked really good, but it's also because they beat the Bills. And the Bengals showed that they could, be an interesting team and upset the Colts, kind of, make a comeback. So, but, I got to go with the Ravens here. They look like the better team in week 1, so they're getting the win here. Second game, the Chargers at the Bills. Now, I'm going to give us a little fantasy advice here. Start everyone you have on the Chargers offense immediately, because they're going to absolutely destroy the Bills. Now, the Bills might get a little more points on offense, but the Chargers are still going to run all over them or pass all over them, and Phil Rivers is going to have, Fitzpatrick numbers. I don't know. And so, definitely going with the Chargers here. Next game, we have the Dolphins at the Jets. Now, this is another interesting game because the Dolphins beat the Titans, but it's also after 4 hours of delay. So it's kind of an interesting game there. There's a little bit of injuries going on because there's so much time between. But the Jets, on the other hand, looked really good against the Lions. And I don't know if the Lions are just really bad or the Jets are actually really good and Sam Darnold and all that good stuff. But I did end up going with the Jets here. They seem like the more interesting team, the more exciting, things going on here. Dolphins still trying to figure things out with their quarterback, Tannehill being back and stuff like that. But I feel like the Jets just might pull it out here. Their defense looks really nice as well, which kind of helps the decision. The next game is the Chiefs at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this is also a tough one because the Chiefs won by a decent margin against the Chargers. This defense looked really bad. The Steelers' defense looked pretty good against the Browns, but it's hard to stop a team when you give them the ball off a turnover inside your own 20-yard line. So this is why this one's a difficult one. Because the Steelers, they didn't win, they tied. They didn't lose either, they tied. But there's no chance they're going to have 6 turnovers 2 games in a row. It's not going to happen. So I feel like the Steelers play a much better game this week. They go out there and they beat the Chiefs in a close game, and that's how it goes there. Next we have our crap fest. Neither of them looked that great. The Titans didn't look very good, and the Texans just really didn't perform the way we wanted them to, and so that's kind of a difficult thing there. But I'm going to go with the Texans here because they have the better players. They maybe just need to get one game under the belt. Sean Watson just needed to get on the field a little bit more in a real game, and so he's going to feel much confident more this year. And he's playing against not the Patriots, so he has a better chance of winning. Next up is the Raiders at Mile High Broncos. Now, Case Keenum, second start as a Bronco. He's looking pretty good, and the Raiders didn't look that great. So, I'm going to go with Case here. He's getting that dub. He's going to keep throwing it up to his boys. Emmanuel Sanders had a great game, and so I'm going to definitely go with the Broncos here. Next, we have the Patriots at Jacksonville. This is our game of the week right here for obvious reasons. This is a rematch of the AFC Championship, which was a very dumb game, in my opinion, because there was a stupid penalty at the end of the first half that caused Jaguars lose the game, even though they would have won it. That probably wouldn't have happened. But that's the point. It's fine. It's fine. Okay? It's fine. It's not fine. It's really not fine. But we have to move on. So, Patriots here. They had a good game against the Texans. The Jaguars didn't have their best game. But, second game of the week, they're going to be able to plan for if Leonard gets hurt this year. They're going to have a better plan for how to deal with that. They're going to have a game under their belt where they know what their strengths are this year, which is their defense, surprisingly. I know, crazy stuff. And Tilden still had a good game. He wasn't having as good a game as Leonard was having, but he still was going to have a good game, and he looked pretty decent out there. So I feel like the Jaguars have the ability to do it, and if they're able to shut down Gronk, like they did, well, they didn't really shut him down, they kind of just got him out of the game completely. But if they are able to shut him down, then I feel like the Jaguars have a good chance of winning this ball game. And I gotta go with my Jaggies. I'm giving them the dub. winners of the game of the week against the Patriots. Now we're on to the AFC NFC games. First, we have the Browns at the Saints. So Browns going all the way to New Orleans. Their second game of the season. They looked pretty decent, for the Browns. But they also were unable to beat a team that had 6 turnovers, which is very disappointing. Tyrod looked good running the ball, and it was hard when your receivers are dropping passes. Okay, they have the weapons there in Cleveland. They can win games. I just don't think they're going to be doing it yet, especially since the Saints, while their defense may not have done as well, their offense was still a big powerhouse. So, going to go with the Saints here. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, all get it done. Next, we have the Colts at Washington against the Redskins. Now, this is going to be an interesting game here because the Redskins played really well in Week 1, and the Colts started out well, and then they kind of fell off a cliff. Now, the goal here, Indianapolis, is to not do that. Now, you can do that. Be my guest. Lose. Keep losing. Continue to be really bad. So the Jaguars have an easy road to the playoffs. But if you want to help your organization here, got to make sure you keep Andrew Luck healthy, right? That just makes sense. And you need to finish the game. You need to finish the ball game, and you can't have stupid mistakes. Now the Redskins, I feel like they're going to get this. They're hot right now. They're feeling really good about themselves. And now Alex Smith is becoming more familiarized with the people that he has. I feel like he's going to do a great job here, and he's going to get them their second dub of the season. Now we're to the NFC games, and we have our first game, which is our upset of the week, Carolina at Atlanta. Now, this is my upset for one single reason. The Panthers have a win, and the Falcons don't. I have no thought of the Panthers winning this game. The Falcons are going to win, okay? I'm just saying that straight up, okay? Falcons are going to win. The only reason my upset is because, they lost Week 1 and the Panthers won Week 1. Granted, it was against a really bad Cowboys team, but they still have a win, so therefore it's an upset. I mean, as long as they are able to finish in the red zone, the Falcons will easily win this game. Next, we have Minnesota at Green Bay. This is a great rivalry here. Not as good as the Bears-Packers. Probably not going to be as good of a game, but it could be. This could be one of the good games. This is a very close, I think second for game of the week here. We have Kirk. We have his high-powered offense and the great defense that they have there in Minnesota. They're facing off against Aaron Rodgers, the luckiest quarterback in history, who proved this Sunday night. We're going to have Kirk where he's going to go in there. He's going to throw it up. He's going to beat that Green Bay defense. And Minnesota's going to be able to shut down Rodgers and the rest of that team. And Kirk's going to have his second dub here in Minnesota. Next we have the Eagles at Tampa Bay. Now this is interesting because the Eagles are really good. I'm not quite sure yet who their starting quarterback is going to be for Week 2, which is a little bit of a factor here. But they were able to beat the Falcons with their defense. So that's an important thing to remember. And Tampa Bay has Ryan Fitzpatrick, who apparently is a really good quarterback. I mean, I like Ryan Fitzpatrick, don't get me wrong. But I did not know he had the ability to absolutely torch the Saints defense. Now, Eagles are definitely a stronger defense. I feel like they're definitely going to give Fitzpatrick more of an opposition here. And I got to go with Philly taking the dub here. They're being the reigning champs and all. They got to keep up their highs so that when it comes to more difficult games, which this could very well be a difficult game. I still feel like they'll win and move on to 2-0. Next we have the Cardinals at the Rams. This is not going to be a difficult pick here, guys. Cardinals looked horrible. Not very good at all. The Rams looked good, which is what we all expected. So I'm definitely going to go with the Rams here. This is an easy one. Not much question here. Next, we have the Lions at San Francisco. These are both two teams that lost. Now, San Francisco lost to the Vikings. Had to do with a lot of Jimmy G picks. He had 2, I believe. But the Lions lost because Matthew Stafford threw 4 interceptions. And I don't think that the Jets defense is better than the Vikings defense. Therefore, Jimmy G will have a better game because the Lions defense isn't as good, but the 49ers defense is kind of decent. So, I'm going to go with Jimmy G. The 49ers back on that winning track there for Jimmy G, who had his first loss as a starting quarterback last week. Bombers. The streak is over. But you can start another one. So here you go. Start it up here. Next we have another good rivalry game. The Giants at Dallas. Now the Giants were interesting. They played a pretty good game against the Jaguars. Okay, Dahl had a lot of targets. Saquon had a really good run, but there were a lot of penalties and stuff like that. But overall, their defense played pretty well. They had a couple picks on Bortles, and they looked like a decent team. Now, if they can do better against a Cowboys defense who looked horrible, then I feel like they're definitely going to do well. And they're going to win this game, and the Cowboys are going to go to 0-2, while the Giants move to 1-1. And Saquon has a nice game. Finally, our final game of the week, we have the Seahawks at Chicago. Now, this is another interesting one, because while the Bears did blow a 20-0 lead, the Seahawks were never able to get a strong lead. They lost to a first-year quarterback of the team who had, learn all the offense stuff, and their defense did not look very good. Now, the strong suit of the Bears was definitely not their offense, but if they're playing against a Seahawks team whose defense is not very good, and while they have a decent defense now with Khalil Mack, who can just rush the edge and destroy Russell Wilson, then I feel like the Bears have a chance to win this, and they will. And that is my final pick of the week. Now, in case you didn't notice, I have my Brett Favre jersey on. Well, actually, my brother's. But, I think I might try to wear a different jersey or a different team every week or something along those lines. So this week I chose Brett Favre. That's all for this week. Come back next week. Smash that like button. All that good stuff. And adios.